Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today we have got Altai being played, with Hut in the southwest corner of the map playing in teal as the English. And in the northeast corner of the map in purple, we've got puppypaw playing as the Chinese. Now, I've been looking forward to watching a match on this particular map because since the new update, since the new patch, survival techniques has been made cheaper. And on a map like Altai, where you have the deer very close to your town center, very well protected, it's usually, it's quite an easy source of food to gather, and we can see that exactly being the case in this opening match between Puppypaw and Hut, both going for the deer and both queuing up and researching survival techniques. As you can see, Hut's already got his in. I wonder whether Puppypaw will be just doing a drop-off with the gold villagers to get his survival techniques as well. So Hut getting the survival techniques a little bit earlier, and wouldn't be surprised to see a forced drop-off here with the gold villagers and then queuing up that survival techniques. And that's exactly what happens, because now survival techniques only costs 25 wood and 75 gold, and on a map like this, when you can increase the gather rate by 15% on what's already pretty fast gathering food with the huntable deer, it's certainly going to be worth it, and both players opting to do so. The interesting civ matchup here, the English versus the Chinese. You get the feeling that the Chinese can be quite greedy, going for a Song Dynasty, maybe even a 2TC Song Dynasty, with the English maybe needing to match that greed, or perhaps consider going for a fast castle for the second town centre in the form of the King's Palace and have some aggression behind that. Certainly it's a bit tricky for the English to sit back and relax and boom behind this, because the Chinese can boom a bit faster and they just would be better at doing that than the English. But the English, maybe on this matchup, the idea will be going to the super duper late game. But even then, the Chinese, they're no slouches in the late game, not with their clock tower bombards, and basically the national clock tower really comes in clutch in that sense. And the economy is super strong for the Chinese as well. But of course, in the super late game, it can come down to a gold issue, with the English having emplacements, or enclosures rather, and enclosures being that they can basically farm the gold. We're getting gold passively through the farms. But the Chinese will have the Imperial Official to kind of keep themselves going, and obviously there's lots of time in between that particular potential episode of a super late game and where we are now, because that's a long way away and there's lots of other things to consider, like relics and sacred sites. But at the moment, we do see Puppypaw ready to go up to the next stage. It's likely to be a Barbican, or actually is going for the Imperial Academy first, probably to get up some tax collection. We shall see. I suspect he knows that his opponent isn't going to be able to do too much damage. Maybe looking to get a Barbican of the Sun after this to protect this gold, because this gold is relatively far forward. And so I suspect going for a Song Dynasty will be on the mind for Puppypaw, and it certainly suggests so, with 3 villagers still on gold and a decent number on food. Getting that Barbican of the Sun here could be quite critical to protect that gold. On the other side of things, we've got the English here, just doing standard things. It does seem to be a pretty heavy wood build, so it could be early aggression with the council hall being used. And it might be a fast castle in behind there, but it remains to be seen. Of course, lots of adaptations need to be made. Scouting, getting those sheep in. Of course, they're relying on the deer just for now. No wheelbarrow. So this is the interesting thing on many maps. The players tend to focus on getting wheelbarrow first as the initial upgrade they get from the mill. But of course, today on Altai, it's all about survival. It's all about survival techniques. Interesting to see at what time the players do opt for that wheelbarrow. I suspect Puppypaw won't get the wheelbarrow just yet. Probably looking to get the Barbican of the Sun first. He's actually queuing up an Imperial Official first from the Imperial Academy, so we can get some supervision going on. Alright, still 2 villagers on... 2 villagers on gold. And he's sending villagers to stone, so it looks like perhaps Hut might be looking for a 2-town centre. Don't know how I feel about that, going for a booming approach against the Chinese when they can just do it better. A little bit tricky. I don't know, it's certainly a tricky matchup, because you want to feel like the English you're not being out-boomed too quickly, because there is a period of... There is a point in the game where if you let the Song Dynasty take that lead and villagers climb too quickly, then you'll be out of the game very quickly. Having that second town centre for the English will reduce the timer that he's on, and offer him some measure of ability to get some army on the field and just try and keep up with the Chinese somewhat. Maybe looking to secure some static defenses and go into the Imperial Age. That Barbican the Sun is being dropped down the front lines as we expected, villagers fighting the scouts back. There's one quite weak villager there that I suspect Hutt's going to want to target. Now he's going to focus fire on the scout. Might need to pull that scout back. That's exactly what he does. Good micro here from Hutt. Hutt might lose a scout if he's not careful. Does pull that scout back now. Villager's going to continue to build the Barbican of the Sun. And once that goes up, the Song Dynasty will be activated. And not only that, he'll have a lot of protection here on that gold vein. Okay, there is that Song Dynasty. Longbow starting to be streamed here from the council hall, so Hutt certainly is looking to be aggressive. We'll need to find another way around. Can't really take a direct through the Barbican here. He needs to go another way around, probably on the left here. The wood lines kind of favour puppypaw actually. Warding up to the lift there and then across here would be very, very nice. Would secure his base entirely almost. It would just remain the sides to be open, but again, it's not exactly much of a wood investment on this side. Neither on this side, so very closed map today on Altai. Not always the case. Going for a village here to expand the population space for the Chinese. We're focusing mostly on the Chinese here because, well, that's where the action is looking to be coming through. A couple of longbows here will actually be able to go through the hill here. Might be looking to just camp that area just to deny the gold. Actually, in fact, the gold might be denied here. If you can camp two longbows here, so very nicely spotted here by Hutt. A couple of horsemen, one horseman's out and about on the prowl, see what value can get. Now there's that second town centre going on the gold vein there for Hutt. Let's take a look at the villager count. Probably quite extensively in the favour of puppypaw by now. 30 to 24, yep. 6 villager lead, that is huge already. Within 7 minutes of the game. That is a pretty crazy lead there, to be honest. But now with the 2 town centres from the English, he'll be catching up. Even though the Song Dynasty has been activated. And as I say that, the second town centre is going now for puppypaw. So 2 town centre Song Dynasty is certainly going to be booming away, getting the village count high. And so as long as the game goes on, the village count, the economy will be stronger for puppypaw, and that will give him a window of opportunity to really build up an economy, and then that might lead into a power spike in the castle age. And with Hutt now going for the boar, that's not a bad play. Faster rate of gathering on that food. Might lose a villager if he's not careful. No, he's well calculated. Oh, does lose a villager, but not to the boar, but more to the horseman. Has to rush up an outpost here. Will happen, but the outposts do go up slower now since the recent patch. So the horseman might in fact get another villager. Does indeed. 2 villagers lost. Might even lose a scout. Rather painful. In fact, the horseman could actually chase down the scout. The horseman does move faster than the scout. Opts to actually go for the villager. Might even pick a 3rd villager. That's a very costly boar for Hutt indeed, and that is that 3rd villager. Horseman will be pulled away. Those villagers will garrison inside. 4 villagers there remaining on that boar. Half, I don't know if he started off with 8, probably with 6 or 7, I think. In any case, a couple of longbows here, just camping out, protecting or denying that gold with the paling's been deployed. So the horseman won't be able to rush in, but there is Zhugnu as an option here for puppypaw. Playing the Chinese with the Song Dynasty, and that's exactly what's happening. Double archery range, supervising the wood, supervising the food. Things looking solid here for the Chinese. Village count 42 for puppypaw, 31 for Hutt. Paling's deployed there. So the horsemen are going to charge in. Only 3 longbows, so should be able to deal with that. And the Zhugnu are going to take the fight, and they'll be more than capable. 3 Zhugnus versus 3 longbows. The longbows go down. And now the villagers can safely take that gold there for puppypaw. Puppypaw might even consider just warding up this little segment just to prevent that from happening again. In any case, we certainly see puppypaw certainly in the lead here. Villagers being pulled out by Hutt to go to stone. Maybe looking to get a keep once he does get to the castle age. Looking to head that way with quite a lot of gold in the bank. Wheelbarrow has been researched by Hutt. And the same cannot be said about puppypaw. Not having that wheelbarrow at the moment. Rather, he can afford it. He can quite comfortably afford it, but I suspect puppypaw might be opting to go to the castle age behind this, and he does look to be en route to do that. He's looking pretty strong. 52 villagers to 38, and the issue is for puppypaw, he just needs I mean, he's just so much more on the way to the castle age. Hutt is really lacking on the food. There's quite a few berries and a deer patch on the left that Hut might be able to take advantage of, but puppypaw looking to start getting some of his own static defenses in the form of palisades on the left and the right side. The right side's almost walled off, actually. Now, what's quite significant is the sacred site is here on the right side. Might be looking to capture that in the castle age. Got quite a sizable army here on the front lines, protecting the central sacred site, with the horsemen and Juganu all just being annoying on the map. But certainly the two town centre Song dynasty looking strong here for Hut. Now is transitioning onto the berries, villagers going off the deer, a couple of deer carcasses left, but not too much food on them. And now Hut looks to wall off, and I think he's going to need to hold out for a bit longer because his opponent will be reaching castle age soon. Does have 8 villagers saturating that boar now. There are 2 outposts here with arrow slits, so that will certainly help his cause and defensive capabilities on this right side. Villagers are looking to fight back as well with their short bows and go back to the boar again. Now Hut doesn't want to keep garrisoning those villagers, keeping them idle, so he's going to wall up there with palisades. And he's quite nicely walled up on the front lines, but on the sides we cannot say the same, and just wonder whether there might be a sneaky attack on the sides coming in, because there's no walls here for Hut. Alright, looks like puppypaw is going to go and grab the other boar. Taking it out with the Juganu and the horseman. Holy smokes, that boar is strong. Getting an outpost there as well. Probably see the villagers being pulled soon towards that boar. We have the barracks as well, so it might be palace guards or spearmen. It looks to be spearmen so far, but only reaching the castle age now, so remains to be seen. There's the astronomical clock tower. Maybe an STBs will be helpful here. Going against the English. English tend to go quite heavy on the infantry in terms of longbows in particular, so an STBs or 2 would be possible. Quite a few horsemen though for Hut. Looks like Hut's going to try and pressure a little bit. Trouble is, his economy is far behind, so if he loses his military, he won't be having the same capability to replace that. Going to try and deny this boar. No rushing, get a charge attack, but the Juganu behind, peppering those arrows, and now Hut has to back off, and looking problematic because puppypaw does have 3 spearmen as well, so it's not as if Hut can comfortably turn back and fight. He does do that. The Juganu get some hits on the way. Longbows, only 4 of them, 4 longbows for Hut, looking to try and micro down the spearmen. That's certainly the right play, so he can take effective fights with the horsemen. The spearmen live for now. There are not enough longbows there to take out the spearmen. 3 spearmen still in play. Spearmen getting good hits here. Horsemen for Hut trying to wrap around the Juganu, but the Juganu getting good damage per second. Horsemen chasing after them, and Hut looks to be in trouble here. He's got himself surrounded, and he's going to lose a lot here. Hut will be taking out a lot of the units, but you just get the feeling that Hut didn't take a very effective fight there. I suppose relatively even. Hut just wants to try and cut down the army that's going to be coming in from puppypaw as soon as he can, and he's well walled up on the front, but I worry about the left side because he's got his walls partially out. I'm not sure what happened to that villager. Maybe the villager got sniped, but that wall has not been completed, and that's a problem. But 2 town centres still not being able to keep up with puppypaw, that's a problem as well. 85 villagers for puppypaw, 58 for Hut. The 2 town centre Song dynasty so hard to punish on this particular generation of Altai, so closed off, and it really favours the Chinese, you feel. Have the barracks, maybe man-at-arms in the castle age for himself, but the problem for Hut is he's nowhere near the castle age just yet. He needs that gold income. Puppypaw now could just look to try and secure his position. Going to get at some of the relics as well. He's quite heavy on stone, maybe looking to get a keep of his own. Okay, Hut can afford to get up to the next stage now. We shall see what it goes up with, whether it's the White Tower or the King's Palace. It is indeed the King's Palace. I don't know how he's going to sustain 3 town centres. That's going to be a problem. A villager on the left side looking to try and wall up that area. Doesn't make it through. She dies a painful death, stabbed by horsemen. And Hut's economy is actually pretty open here. He does have the town centres with a longer range, of course, playing as the English. He'll need to be a bit defensive here. Horsemen going to run in and maybe pick off a villager. Doesn't quite manage it. Villager garrisons inside. Only 10 villagers can garrison inside the output in the town centre. And the longbows do get some good hits on that horseman. Horseman does go down. 2 of them die. With very little value there for the Chinese. Right side all walled up. Left side all walled up for puppypaw. It's going to be the centre that Hut will need to fight in. And 1 relic is now being pulled in for the Chinese. Let's look at the population, because 65 villagers for Hut, 100 for puppypaw. That is a huge advantage, and Hut now reaching the castle age. And puppypaw probably going to smell blood here, probably going to push ahead, because as we've said it before, we'll say it again, when you age up, that's often the time that you're at your most vulnerable at times, and I think puppypaw is going to be aggressive here. Puppypaw does have a couple of lances, a couple of Zhugnu, a couple of veteran spearmen as well. He wants to push quickly before the upgrades start to come in for Hut. It'd be interesting to see what Hut's going for. It looks like to be man-at-arms at the very least. And longbowman. Yeah, veteran longbowman, man-at-arms is the play. Looking to actually get this wall up on the left side now. Villager survives, horseman chases those down. The wall will finally be secured on the left side, but the right side will be open. And of course the center now is where puppypaw is going to be aggressive. He knows that Hut's army's on the other side, so this is a very clever play by puppypaw, taking advantage of the unprotected static defenses. There is an outpost with arrow slits, but they kind of tickle the lancers. One lancer will go down, but he will be able to break through the palisades. And now Hut looking to palisade again, just in front of his barriers to keep his opponent out. There's a hole here that's not been palisade walled, and Hut might be exposed here. Will he send a villager there? Will he notice in time? Will puppypaw dive in? In fact, he heads back. The arrow slit towers are a bit too much for him. Oh, he's looking to deny the keep, and actually going to get lots of good hits here. There's Zhugnu behind. Zhugnu chasing some of the villagers down, the lancers as well, and you get the feeling this is going to be painful for Hut. He's going to lose a lot of villagers here. The keep will go up, but at what cost? A very big cost. A villager count will be plummeting. The villagers garrison inside, and now puppypaw will probably have to back off from this. But it did do a lot of damage, and he spotted that at the exact right time that he needed to. Villager count now 65 for Hut. We said that it was 65 like a minute ago. They lost a lot there. 116, almost double the amount of villagers, more than double the amount of military. Don't forget, this is predominantly castle age military. Things looking tricky here for Hut. I think if your Hut, maybe having some stone walls is the early option. Doesn't have any stone in the bank though, so this is going to be a problem. If puppypaw pushes now, this could be a problem for Hut. Doesn't have much in the way of a win condition at this point, other than trying to turtle up a bit more and prolong the game into late Imperial. But even then, puppypaw won't mind, because he'll be looking to be able to go to the Imperial Age pretty quickly himself. With the economy that he has 1,000 stone, can afford to keep. Nester Bees is in play, and the siege down at the outpost now, and that reduces the amount of static defense that Hut has. Trying to build an army mass underneath the keep, but puppypaw just going all the way right round it. And this is looking problematic for Hut. Puppypaw does have 3 relics in behind this as well, so that gold income will be looking pretty crazy. Okay, Nester B's getting off here, and quite a few men-at-arms going to be pretty well dealt with the Zhugnu, with the bolt arrows they fire, and oh, that's a decentish hit actually, not the best, but Nester B is still doing their damage, and more than anything pushing the archers back. Nester B survives on only 30 health, but that's enough to get another volley off, and if he does, that could be painful. Will I save that? But Springwall there for Hut does take that Nester B's out, and that's quite crucial. Villagers here from the barriers do have to be pulled back, because the lancers are going to wrap in now, and this is looking problematic for Hut. And villagers coming in for puppypaw as well. It might be outposts. It's going to be a keep. No, it's going to be a keep drop for puppypaw. Not taking any chances. Going to be putting keep here on the right side. Gives him a lot of map control. Gives him a way into the base. And then looks to maybe siege down the King's Palace. This is actually probably the weakest landmark in the whole game, and he's going to opt for fighting the army instead. Not a bad move. Spearmen and lancers on the front line with the Zhugnu behind. Longbow's trying to get some damage. The longbows aren't doing the damage he needs against the lancers. Doing a decent amount. Some of the lancers do go down to the man-at-arms with the meat shield in front. That keeps going to go up, especially with the Chinese villagers, 7 of them. And the lancers are going to try and do some damage against the veteran archers. The army numbers now starting to dwindle for puppypaw, but he's starting to overwhelm because there's only veteran longbows there for Hut. No other meat shield in front, and that's a problem because there are lancers there. And the keep goes up, and now that King's Palace is under siege, there's no villagers that can really come out safely from the King's Palace. That villager will be sniped by the keep, and that's a big problem. Siege workshop going down for puppypaw on the right side, even getting the... I don't know, he's going to go for the relics, I think, but there was the sacred side activated there just for a moment. He does have a lot of villagers on stone. Holy smokes, can afford another keep. That's a lot of stone puppypaw. 52, he's on a mission for another keep, and yeah, he's going to get another keep, and with that, Hut taps out. He knows he's beat, he knows he hasn't been able to force the game into the late game, but this game was all about survival techniques, and unfortunately, Hut could not survive till the late Imperial Age, and puppypaw takes the win. Hope you guys enjoyed this casted game, and if you did, do give it a thumbs up. Take care, and see you next time.